What is up, Broncos fans? The Denver Broncos Show, back here again to do another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about some recent news that happened with the Broncos. They actually reached a contract extension with wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. This happened last week, so this is a little late. I do apologize for that, but I still wanted to make a video, give my thoughts on the Broncos re-signing DT and what it means for us going into this season and into the future. Great move by John Elway. Great to have DT locked up for 5 more years, and just a great thing in general for the Broncos. Eliminates a distraction going into the season, and like I said, once again, just another fantastic move and job by John Elway of securing a very pivotal piece to this Broncos team. Now, looking at this deal for DT, he definitely got paid, but he definitely made a little less than I expected. There was a lot of rumblings out there that Demaryius Thomas and Dez Bryant, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, they both wanted upwards of $20 million per season, wanted to be paid as much as Calvin Johnson, wanted to be the 2 highest paid wideouts in the game. So I was thinking that the Broncos were going to meet DT, somewhere in the middle and pay him about $17 to $18 million a year, but DT settled for less money than that. You look at the deal for DT, he gets 5 years, $70 million in total, $43.5 million guaranteed for Demaryius Thomas. So definitely the Broncos shelled out some money here, but only $14 million per season. I would say that's a pretty solid bargain for the Broncos in retaining, in my opinion, one of the 3 or 4 best receivers in the game in Thomas. And you look at this move, it also gives the Broncos flexibility going in the future of retaining more assets. Von Miller is a guy due next year for a contract extension. This deal will allow the Broncos to have some more wiggle room to work there and give him some more money. So this is just a great move for both parties, but definitely for the Broncos because, again, you kind of get DT on a bargain for $14 million per year, but he does get paid, again, with $43.5 million guaranteed. This is such a great re-signing by the Broncos to get Demaryius Thomas back, who's such an incredible talent at the wide receiver position for 5 years, get him locked up long-term, have him be a huge part of your future plans. It's just a big deal, man. To get him locked up again for that 5 years, kind of the meat of his career, the prime of his career coming up, is huge for us. And look, the Broncos have had some phenomenal wide receivers in their day in this franchise's history, but when it's all said and done, Demaryius Thomas might go down as the best receiver this franchise has ever had. He's already has a few records for the Broncos franchise at the receiver position. He has the most consecutive games with 100 receiving yards at 7. He set the single season record for most 100 receiving yard games with 10, and last season he set the single season record for most receiving yards by a Broncos receiver with 1,619 yards. I mean, this guy is just such an immense talent. Obviously has phenomenal size for the wide receiver position at 6'4", 220 pounds, has great speed, is one of the best deep threats in the game, has great hands, has improved his route running ability massively over the past 3 seasons, especially since Peyton Manning has got here, is a great blocker, obviously has value in the run game, and is just a big play waiting to happen. He is a home run hitter. You get a guy like this, he can take a top off a defense. He's also a guy, again, that is so big but is so quick in open space. I mean, he's a guy you can throw the ball in reverses and he can take it up the field for 40 yards, or, of course, one of the favorite plays the Broncos like to utilize Demaryius Thomas, the little bubble screen, and he can take that up, up the field for 30, 40 yards for a score. So just to have a home run hitter back like this, and again, in my opinion, one of the best 3 to 4 receivers in the game today, get him back on board, get him signed now for the chunk of his career, the prime of his career. Now he's going to be a Denver Bronco, is just huge. And Demaryius is a great guy. You're talking about a guy that has overcome so much in life, is a great locker room guy, great character guy, really has matured over the past couple seasons for the Broncos, really has become one of the more vocal leaders of this team, and this offensive unit really has kind of taken a page out of Peyton Manning's book and learned so much under him since we got him. And you listen to what Demaryius Thomas had to say in the press conference when the Broncos announced this contract extension, that he really wants to be here. He wants to retire a Denver Bronco. He wants to set the single season record, I think, next year for receiving yards or for reception. So he has big goals on his mind. Again, he's a great character guy and he wants to be here. You want guys like this in your locker room, and to hear him say he wants to retire Bronco, I mean, what more can you ask from Demaryius Thomas? And again, you get him at $14 million per season. He gets paid with $43.5 million guaranteed. It's just a great deal for both parties. And again, like I said, since 2012, Demaryius Thomas, since we got Peyton Manning, has been one of the, again, 3 to 4 best wideouts in the game. You look what he's done since 2012. Has been a 3-time Pro Bowler, has been a 2-time second-team All-Pro. Since we got Peyton Manning, he's had 297 catches. He's been targeted 468 times by Manning. So obviously this is Peyton Manning's go-to guy. This is his safety blanket at times. You look what he's compiled yardage-wise: 4,483 receiving yards since 2012, 35 touchdowns, averaging 15.1 yards per catch. And the great thing about Demaryius is he's shown durability. He's gotten his body in better shape. He's done a better job of taking care of himself as he's gotten older. The last 3 seasons, he's started and played in all 16 regular season games, so you love that. He stayed healthy, which obviously was kind of a knock on him early on in his career. And again, it's just been such a huge weapon and pivotal piece of our offense since he's came in the league, since we drafted him, I think, back in 2009 or 2010. But you look what he's done, since 2012, Peyton Manning. Again, those numbers are just ridiculous. Been Peyton Manning's favorite target, and again, that repertoire that they have, that chemistry that they have, is something you don't want to break up. Peyton Manning's probably got a year or 2 left in his career, and you definitely want Demaryius Thomas to be here for those last year or 2. So this is just again a great deal overall. The Broncos retain such a weapon in Demaryius Thomas. Again, one of the best deep threats in the game. So big, but so quick as well, especially in open space and the open field. Can take a top off the defense, and is just so physically gifted. Is a great blocker. Just a great great re-addition, I should say, by the Broncos. Another great move by John Elway. Brilliant job here by getting Demaryius Thomas locked up for the next 5 years and allowing the Broncos to also have some financial flexibility going forward to resign and retain some other assets and some really key players. So great to have Demaryius Thomas back. Really excited to see him play this year. Again, this also eliminates a distraction going into the season. There was a lot of reports with DT hold out, blah blah blah. So now you eliminate that. You're distraction free going into training camp, and you get right to work. So exciting time as a Broncos fan. You got training camp coming up here. I think within the next week or 2. You get DT back. Just a good time to be a Broncos fan. Leave me a comment below. What do you guys think of this contract here by John Elway and the Broncos to re-sign Demaryius Thomas to a 5-year, $70 million contract? Again, $43.5 million guaranteed for DT. And what do you think of this move? What do you think of Demaryius Thomas back? And just anything else you got on the Broncos, anything you want to talk about, leave me a comment below. Always love hearing from you guys. Thank you for watching. Demaryius Thomas, thumbs up. Welcome back to Denver, man. The city has loved you ever since you got here, and like he said, I hope he retires a Bronco, and this is definitely a good step forward in making that happen in the foreseeable future. So great day for the Broncos. Great move by the Broncos, and should be a fun season. Thanks for watching, guys. Go Broncos. Good to have DT back on board for 5 more years.